welcome back to my channel. This is Becky. In this episode, what I wanted to go over was what we call the verbal de-escalation protocol. A lot of times we want to learn how to track people's behaviors in order to learn how to prevent situations from getting worse. We don't want people to explode. We want to go ahead and try to bring them down from whatever emotionally highly charged, state of mind they're in, and slow them back down into a calm state of mind. So this protocol can help you, and I will also go over is a script that will help you with that as well. So here are the do's. We want to keep a copy of this verbal de-escalation script where you can easily access it. And if you want to email me at holmans.consulting@gmail.com, then I can go ahead and send these documents to you so you'd have your own copy. All right, the other do is practice the verbal de-escalation script. So don't just get it from me and put it in a binder somewhere. I want you actually using the tools that I give you. So make sure you practice it. It's kind of like when you're in school and you would do the fire drills, just to practice, because you want that to be an automatic thing. We want that script to be something that you and the people that you love are familiar with. So that way when a crisis happens, it's already a tool that you guys are familiar with. All right, then we want to provide an independent activity for the rest of the group to engage in if the person begins to escalate. So when you can see someone is getting agitated, usually the first thing you want to do is remove extra audience. You want to have just the minimum number of people there to kind of handle the situation. So that way everybody else, maybe you assign different tasks in different parts of the house. If you see that your husband's getting frustrated, instead of addressing him directly, you can then send the kids to, go do different chores and turn off the TV so there's less stimulation, change the environment. Then it eases his stressful environment, and then you're able to approach him to discuss more calmly whatever it is that was upsetting him. So notice I didn't say, just create an environment where he doesn't get angry. No, you still have to address the issue, but first you address the environment and the things that are within your control before you address the things that are not. All right, then we want to get to know the person and know what might lead to or provoke an escalated response. And this is what makes my program so different from all the professionals, the other professionals. I mean, I am a professional and I have the degrees. And if you go to my LinkedIn, I actually have posted all my degrees so far. I have a couple certifications that I don't have up there, but I can share them to you if you want to see them too. So I really specialize in really getting to know you and your family as a unit, but as individuals within that unit. I like to consider families as like little wolf packs, and so I just come in and I get to know your little wolf pack and figure out the dynamics of how you've set it up and kind of help you figure out how you want to improve it. Another do is we want to stay calm when engaging in verbal de-escalation, and I know that that's not always easy because we ourselves are humans, and as leaders of other humans, emotions can ping pong between our vessels because it is energies, it's frequencies, and people's attitudes are contagious. So we have to work to stay calm ourselves, to be able to think logically and have mind over heart decisions made when you are in a leadership position. Another do is that the person may need some cool down or processing time during the verbal de-escalation, and so then we want to provide that wait time and check back later. I know for me, I am a delayed processor, and so it's like I really like to think things over, and sometimes that can be a bad thing, and I need my friends and family to be like, all right, you've thought that over enough, you've rethought that enough, let's keep moving forward. So it is a fine line of giving people space and then giving them too much space, and then they become their own demise because now they've thought up more problems than there were originally. Which leads me to the don'ts. We don't want to force a person to talk I know I'm also guilty of, if I'm upset, I will let people know that I'm upset. I will tell them, hey, this is what I'm going to go do to try to fix that. And then when I'm ready, I will come back. But if someone tries to force me to talk in the moment, then I'm probably going to say whatever it is in a mean way, or in an angry way, or an aggressive way, and then that's going to add more personal conflict, right, to a stressful situation. So we want to make sure that we're not forcing people to talk until they're ready to talk, but always giving them the opportunity to talk. We don't want to use de-escalation in an overly public manner. We want to keep things more private, because when someone's emotional, they're going to be doing and saying things that they normally wouldn't say and do. And usually they're in an emotional state because they're in some sort of internal pain triggered by some sort of trauma that we're not privy to. It's inside. So of course we have to just be patient and calm, and try to give them discretion through the episode. We also should never tell a person how they are feeling. Granted, we can sit there and see what's going on from the outside, but we do not know what's going on the inside. And I know it can be very frustrating for people when someone tries to tell them, oh no, you don't really feel that way. Then you've kicked up their stress level even further, because now they're having to defend themselves. So we don't want to do that. We also don't want to get up on the hung up on the flow of the script. So again, you got to flow with words, you got to flow with life. So you don't have to worry about memorizing the script, but just if you're practicing it, then you're kind of rewiring that part of your brain for when there is a crisis situation, to have something to grab onto out of your toolbox and say, oh, okay, we're going to use this. Do not be sarcastic. I know it can be tempting to use sarcasm to try to lighten the mood and to be humorous, but when someone is in pain, or if they're autistic, they're not always going to pick up on the sarcasm, and now they feel they've been insulted. And now again, you've added another emotional layer component that we don't need in an already hostile situation. We do not want to react if you are feeling attacked by what the person says. So if what they're saying is triggering your wounds, just know that that's something for you to work, just note on it and work on it later. Now is not the time for you to respond out of your emotions and out of your triggered state. So you're going to want to make sure that you monitor yourself in that situation. And if you need to, like I said before, remove yourself from that situation. You can use that mantra that you've created, or the one that I shared with you in a previous video, to help put a pause, take a time out in the conversation until everybody is ready to continue. We do not want to tell a person what to do. And I know I have had many loved ones who think that they're helping me by trying to tell me what to do, but all that does is really put me more in defense mode. And so I know that that's true for a lot of the people that I work with. So we want to respect the fact that everybody has free will, and even if they have limitations, they still ultimately are the co-creator of their life with God and the universe. So we have to respect that and not tell them what they have to do. We do not want to blame a person for their situation, because as we know, everybody makes mistakes or sidesteps, and sometimes the universe just throws random crap at us to keep us on our toes and teach us some more lessons that we didn't know that we needed. So we don't ever want to blame the person for the situation that they're in, no matter how bad it is. We also do not want to continue doing or saying anything that seems to escalate the situation. If I'm talking with someone and I've hit on a subject that they don't want to talk about, and they have now redirected the conversation to something they do want to talk about, I allow them to redirect the flow of the conversation, and then we'll revisit when I think that there might be another opportunity. We also do not want to argue with the person, right? It is their perspective, it is their belief, it is how they see life through their lens, and as God representative, which we all are, they're entitled to their beliefs and their opinions. So we don't want to argue with the person. However, we do want to keep everybody safe and grounded and moving forward in healthy directions. So sometimes that can be a little difficult to navigate, which is why you might want to use this particular script. It creates a structured response to extreme behavior, and it helps to minimize and de-escalate the behavior rather than provoke a power struggle. All right, so here is the script, and then I will give you some additional information. So, number 1, you would say, I see you, and then you would say their name. Okay. What this does is it helps you identify the behavior that tips you off that the person is emotionally escalated. So you're going to want to acknowledge them, use their name to get their attention, and then acknowledge what you're seeing. Once you acknowledge what you're seeing, you've gotten their attention first, you've acknowledged what you're seeing, and now number 2 is you're going to ask, are you feeling blank? And this is because you want to inquire, to ask questions to see if you are interpreting your observed behaviors correctly, right? Because just because it looks like one thing to us doesn't necessarily mean that it is to the individual. So we want to get that clarification by asking, are you feeling, and then we'll fill in the blank. Then we are going to acknowledge the behavior to bring the person's attention to it. We're going to say, number 3, I can see that you are blank. And what this does is it affirms what that person says is how they feel. Okay. The number 4, we're going to say, what are you blank about? Again, we're asking, we're getting our curiosity going. We want to inquire why the person is feeling that emotion. So we're digging a little bit deeper underneath. Why is that woman or that man or that child or that, you can even use this with animals. Why is that animal doing what they're doing? Okay, because I know a lot of us talk with our animals. I even talk with my plants. Okay, so now number 5, you're going to say, so you're blank about blank. Is that right? What that is you're restating what you heard to verify that you're understanding them and that you demonstrate that you are actually listening. Number 6, we're going to say, what do you want? But we're going to do it in a way that doesn't come across as like a, oh, what do you want? Right? See how the tone, the way I delivered both of those is very different. And I could be like, what do you want? Right? How we say things can be important. So what this does is we assist the person in identifying what options are reasonably available. So we don't want to make them feel that they are a burden for expressing that they have a want or a need, which is why we have to be careful about our tone and how we say things. Then number 7, we can say, what have you tried? And again, we're deepening the conversation, we're creating that intimacy, we're building that safe environment, the container where that person can now open up more and be more vulnerable. And what this does is this guides the person through the process of self-reflection. Number 8 is, how well has that worked? So again, we're not giving them any answers, we're guiding them through what they've already tried and the thought processes that they've already used, and now we're teaching them how to problem solve. We're teaching them how to have deeper thinking, cognitive abilities. And what this does is it helps the person assess their progress in dealing with the situation. Number 9, we would say, what else are you willing to try? And now you're expanding their view on their current situation, because they have had a limited view, and now you're asking them to expand that view. And then now you're going to help them by providing alternatives. So if the person is struggling with identifying other ways to deal with that situation, the person, that you're other people can help guide them at that point. You don't want them to be sitting there spinning their wheels, not being able to make progress forward. So then you kind of give more prompts and more nudges. We don't want to ever do things for someone that they can do for themselves if just given proper guidance and proper time. And then number 10 will be, you will say, will you let me know how it goes? So again, you're putting the ownership back on that individual to take what you've discussed and the tools that you've given them or that you've helped them find for themselves, and now you're giving them the strength and the faith and the guidance that they can take what they've gotten from that time with you and now use it to help themselves solve that problem, and then they get to follow up, and then if they need more assistance, then you're able to provide more assistance. This also helps with building trust. Okay, so we live in a society where it's really difficult to trust people, and the more engaged we are on those deeper level conversations, the more it helps to repair the rupture that we have within our society's, infrastructure of how we interact with one another. If you like the content that I share, I would really appreciate it if you would go ahead and subscribe and like and share this video to spread the message and so other people can have access to my content. And go ahead and leave me a comment down below so I can get to know my audience a little bit more. I look forward to talking with you again in my next video. I hope you have a great day.